For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Andrew McDonough and I work in the central GIS office. You've probably gotten emails from me asking you to do some weird stuff, either on surveys or help us with maps. But we've also sent out a lot of cool maps and cartography stuff to you guys. We're always trying to update your park trail maps, but we're also doing a lot of smart data management on the sides. One of the projects that's come out, we've been talking about it since about October and mostly January of this past year, is how to maybe update RMI into something that's a little bit smarter, takes less time, and provides us with a ton of cool data for everybody from rangers to park managers to be able to use for management decisions, for coming up with really cool programs for everybody, and giving you credit for everything that you do in a given season. And so what we've done is created what we're calling PRMI. And PRMI stands for the Parks Programs and Resource Management Inventory. You might hear it called a report or an inventory or a survey. If you use any of those terms, you're right. However you want to describe it, you're welcome to do so. We'll know what you're talking about when you say PRMI. So PRMI is going to be basically a survey that you guys get to fill out, but we're going to call it a report, just like you did with RMI. It can be on your phones, it can be on your computer, it can be offline, online. If you don't have Wi-Fi, it's still going to work for you. And it's really cool. You don't need a login to use it. Everybody, even if you're a seasonal ranger, you're going to have access to this new program, and it's going to be a way for you to contribute. So that's already a pretty cool thing. Some of the benefits of using this are that we're going to track more data. We're going to get rid of a lot of duplication of data. We're going to be able to assign everything that you've done to you, and it's going to look pretty cool in the end. So I'm going to show a couple things real quick before we dive into how to use this, and some fun examples we're going to do with some breakout rooms and test your guys' knowledge of it. But before, I'll show you kind of what it looks like, and then also why we got involved as GIS and just other reasons that we're the ones kind of behind this, working with the education team. So what you're going to see, I'm going to minimize my videos on the side. Here it is. This is your PRMI form, your new reporter. It can be accessed whether you're on a laptop or you're on your monitor, hanging out on your phone. It's going to look kind of the same, so you get familiar with it no matter what way you're doing it. The coolest part about this is we're collecting more than just one type of information on this. You know, traditionally we might be looking for programs, but we're also now looking at, okay, when you have unscheduled interactions at your park, maybe you're just stopping by for you have a visitor stopping by and you give them a quick talk on what kind of native species they might be seeing on their hike or how to use some of the recreation equipment, and it's a quick unscheduled program. You're going to be able to do that. We're going to have basically all the events that you guys do too. When you're in charge of organizing a bigger event, we're going to give you credit for that. And then how all the programs that go into event are supported. And we're also going to look at resource management and figure out how to just get more ideas on our cultural resources or natural resources projects that we're doing out there. And it's all going to be in one form. And this form is built on logic. So it's a kind of a smart form in which no matter what you click, it's going to generate different options below. That way it's not too busy. You don't have to kind of figure out which forms you're supposed to do. If there's a little red asterisk, that means that's something for you to fill out. So if you've seen GIS in the past, that stands for Geographic Information Systems, otherwise known as mapping. But basically, you guys all work at parks. You work at locations on the ground. These programs take place someplace. So we're able to tie all that information to a central place and do some data management with that. You might have seen surveys sent out in the past where we asked you to find out how many trackers are at your park, like those drive over strips or whatever kind of things you had, camera counters and those traffic sensors. So we used a survey to collect that information, build a dashboard, and come up with a solution on how we can roll out new tracking systems to the park. And Mike Dobis and a few others have really done a great job getting these new trackers out, and we're going to have some really cool visitor information from that. We've also used surveys to figure out what kind of wayfinding problems we've had at parks. You know, we looked at whether it was navigation issues with GPSs or maybe there was interstate signs that weren't updated. Those were all in a survey form and they populated a new dashboard. But the cool thing is when you guys use this, you're going to be able to do a couple different things. You're going to be able to publish reports. So if you need an end of the month report or a seasonal report, You're going to be able to do that, and you're also going to be able to look at some data that gets generated by all this. So we're setting up what's called the PRMI dashboard. This is a quick view. I'm not. We're going to have separate trainings and some videos coming out on how to use this, but the idea is, this is, so far we've had 68 entries submitted in the last week before everything goes live on May 1st. Oh, make that 69. And we have ways to filter this down. So every time you want to look at maybe what are the visitor interactions that we've had, how many events have been done, we can see which parks they've been done at. We can see what kind of revenue they brought in, the cost of expenditure. So if you want to go back and look at how much it costs to run an event and whether it's worth it, how many donations were generated, you can do that. You'll be able to pick the specific event, whether it's Audubon Acres or Civil War Days, or you can find out if it had interpretive programming. So this is a really cool application that you guys will all be able to use, and park managers might be able to find these numbers helpful for reporting up to area managers. Area managers can use it to report up to folks like Jim Bryson or give marketing an idea of what to do. They're also going to have this analysis tool for you guys to use. We'll have also training for this. We won't get into it too deep now, but this is for all you data nerds out there if you really want to see the specific numbers for everything. So here we're going to have every single field that you guys have the ability to fill out, and then also look at the results of them. You can filter by the type of entry, the program, the person who submitted it. So at the end of the day, you might be able to see, how many programs did I do over a season? What type were they? What was my attendance for these? So far, you can already see that we've had some submissions from a lot from Warriors Path. We've had some that took place off-site. We'll get down. I'll show you what some of the categories look like. See, as I said, there's more information than you could ever know what to do with. But it's really cool that we're able to collect this. So we have program types, and they're broken down into general categories. We're not going to focus at this level to whether it's a guided museum tour or a guided boat tour. We have these general topics, and as they grow, if we find one of these being like really, really strong, we might split it up into smaller topics. But we didn't want to do it at this level yet. We wanted to see if there were some that weren't getting any counts at all, and then kind of distribute these new types of responses for our next version, which will come out in about 6 months. And it will be the same idea. So what you're learning now will be applicable for the next year and hopefully forever. We have our program topics. These are some general topics of interest that were generated. We could see you got wildlife and Go Green initiatives going on really strong. In the survey, you were able to select, I think, maybe 2 of these for each of your programs. So if you're covering these topics, you get credit for those. And we also have a really cool way of documenting more than one person. So we're going to get into more detail of this, but no longer do we have to just have one person associated with the survey or more than one person submitting for each program. If you guys work together, if you were a co-presenter or you helped a lot with the background stuff to get all the materials together and came up with some of the ideas, you can submit together. And all this will be associated with the same report that's sent in. If I did 20, if I had 20 people at my program and Rob was also there helping me co-support, we're not going to each submit a survey and then calculate 40 total people. We're going to have just 20 people came to our event, and Rob and I will both get credit for presenting to those 20 people. So that's a crash course into what this is all about. It's really cool. You're going to have a really good opportunity to generate some really fun data for us to look at. We're going to see some great numbers, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very helpful tool for you guys. So if you have questions for this, as we get into this, we're going to ask you if you run into issues with the training manuals and you can't figure it out, or you have some really unique scenario that you don't think we've ever thought of before, you can email me and someone from the IPE team, and we're going to look into this to see if we can maybe add updates and do some changes. And as we're rolling it out here on May 1st, some of this is just generalized for the use of every park. We've had some unique scenarios where we might want to incorporate in the future. We've got some bugs still to work out, but we're able to start out here on May 1st and get rolling with this new PRMI before the season really gets underway. And we hope you guys enjoy it. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Rob and Sarah. But if you have questions, please reach out to me. We're going to show you some cool examples as we go through this today, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you to Rob. He gave us this overview of the why. And Andrew's kind of given us the big picture of ArcGIS and Survey 123 and that dashboard. So I'm going to pick it up with a little bit more getting into the weeds of the form. For anybody who I haven't already met, hi, my name is Sarah Green. I serve as the education specialist for Tennessee State Parks, usually in the lovely Tennessee Tower, but today and for the last 14 months from my apartment north of Nashville. I want to thank you guys for joining us today and remind you that if you haven't already typed your name in the chat to get recognition for being here today, to please do that and add in any questions you have. We're going to have a special Q&A session at the end, and we want to make sure that we get to your questions. So just pop that in the chat as well. I'm going to go over some of the details, and then we're going to challenge ourselves with some actual scenarios and using the form just to make sure we've got it down pat. Before we get too far into it, I want to show everybody at the bottom of the screen, there's going to be like a little smiley face reaction option. And so I am interested in who has completed successfully both steps of downloading the app and accessing PRMI. You'll put a thumbs up or a smiley face or is there like a scared, I don't know what's going on face. This kind of helps me understand where we need to go from here. I saw a celebration. That just makes my day. All right, so I'm seeing some of those thumbs up. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of time going over that quick start guide in the training documents. I'm gonna share my screen. So hopefully you can see the training document. Hopefully it looks familiar. You've clicked on this and done a little bit of exploring. I'm going to scroll down to page 3, which is our quick start option. Here, we call to everyone's attention that it is a 2-step process to get to the PRMI survey form. That means that once you have the form, it's in your app, you've got it forever. So you are on your way. But I do want to just give a little bit of a recommendation here that if you do programs or if you want to access the if you want to access resource management projects that you've done in the past and you want to continue to look at those entries that you've already submitted, I recommend that you choose either the phone or the desktop option and continually use that same option, because without a login, which we won't have at the beginning, it doesn't save and transfer to both devices. So I personally like the Survey 123 app on my phone, so that's what I primarily use. They're going to look the same for usability, but you won't be able to access previously submitted entries on both devices. They won't correlate together. So step 1 is to go into the App Store, either in your phone or on your desktop, and download the app. It's pretty easy to do. We have had a few reports that it might take a little longer on desktops, especially older versions. So if you want it to download quickly, maybe start it early in the morning before you really get going for the day. And then after downloading the app, you will either scan with your phone. I had to be told how to do this because I'm so not techie. Open up your camera, scan the QR code, and it should pop up automatically. It might even ask you, do you want to open this form in your app? And you will say, yes, please. Or you're on your desktop and you just click on the link. And it will probably prompt the same, would you like to open this in the app? Once it's in the app, it's saved forever. And it will look like this here, this little image here. And because we don't have logins, you'll just click continue without signing in. Every time, continue without signing in. Eventually, we are looking at securing licenses for all rangers and managers in the field. That is in the works, but we wanted to make sure that we were able to release all of this new information before the season gets really busy. We didn't want all of this coming out in the middle of July and say, oh, on top of everything else, here's this new thing. So we wanted to get things started, and we will be following up hopefully with some licenses for everyone. But for right now, just continue to sign in without a login. When you get into the app, there are going to be several features like those here on the left. Collect is your friend. Collect is just the app collecting the data you want to give it. So you start with collect, put in your information, you click the little check mark at the bottom, and all of a sudden it will look like a sent entry. Your sent entries are accessible later to be edited or to be copied, edited, and then submitted again as a new entry. You might also see things in your draft folder. The draft folder is if you know you have something coming up, you know you have an event, and you want to go ahead and get it started, or you know you've got a series of programs and you want to put some information in there, but you don't really know all of the extra little details of how many people have come, or are there any extra notes I need to add. You can put those in prior to the experience and save it in the draft folder. The outbox folder also might be something that pops up on your phone. And what this is you tried to submit something, but you maybe weren't connected to the internet. And so it's just going to stay there, hang out, and then automatically submit itself once it gets to a strong internet connection. There's also an inbox here. And for right now, we're just going to pretend it isn't there. It might not pop up at all. I just wanted to let you know, if you see it and you're like, I don't know what that's for, it's okay. It's not going to affect your entries. Also want to highlight name and email. Name and email are both searchable from that dashboard. And so it's really important that we are consistent in entering in names and emails correctly with that capital letter, space in between for, with the capital letter for your last name, comma, space, capital letter for your first name. It sounds like a silly detail to be explaining to all of you professionals, because you are professionals, but it's just that one little extra thing that can trip up the system in searching and printing out reports. We want to make sure you get credit for everything you do. So just being a little bit consistent there with the last name, comma, first name. I want to highlight the seasonals are absolutely able to use this because it is public. They can download the app. They can continue without signing in and enter in their information. The note here is that if their email, if they will enter an email that they're going to have for the next 5 years, that will be really helpful to track that long-term success. That .edu will probably disappear quickly after graduation, and we want to make sure that they're still able to enter in and it stay pretty consistent. So Andrew highlighted that there are 2 main entry types. We've got our visitor interactions, anytime you're with the public, or resource management. We've thrown some definitions on here, and we all are pretty familiar with the scheduled program. These are arranged ahead of time, they're regularly occurring, you've advertised, you know people are coming up to see your lovely face and hear all of your amazing interpretation. But we have put some new language together for unscheduled programming. So if you hear unscheduled program and that impromptu light bulb is going off, you are in the right direction. We just wanted to take this opportunity to firm up what this is and kind of give some guidance to new employees, to seasonals, to what is an unscheduled program. So I'm going to just go ahead and read this for everybody. An unscheduled program is an interpretive, recreational, or educational experience between park staff and 1 or more visitors. It addresses a theme. It should last a minimum of 10 minutes. It should not include, it should not just be general information like here's the direction to the restroom, or this is the time the park closes. But it should be a real interpretive moment. There's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end in that 10 minutes. And these are reported individually, and they usually occur on site. So we're going to see some examples of that as we move forward in the training today. In RMI, we've had presenters and organizers, and that shows up here in a subtle way. It is assumed in the logic of the form that scheduled and unscheduled programs are presenters and they are presented to the public, but events are organized. You can be both, of course. So an event is, an example of an event could be something like Civil War Days. It could be a heritage festival. It could be a junior ranger camp. And multiple organizers can be involved in that event, and the event can have additional programming within it. The event is also going to have a specific name, and that name will need to be communicated to those who are presenting at the event, so that event name can move into the program entries for those individuals. And we'll see some examples of that later on. And of course, there's resource management as an option, and those are pretty straightforward. I worked on a museum exhibit, or I did some trail work. Here's what I did. A fun extra that we have now with PRMI is that instead of having a whole new entry for a resource management project, we can track how the project is going over a period of time. If you didn't get the entire trail work done in one day, you can go back and track that. And then as a manager, you can see how long certain resource management projects are taking to look at that, the time length and the return on investment there. A couple things you might see today are pre-entered, edited, and copied submissions. So you can, like we talked about, pre-enter into and save it as a draft. There are some step-by-step instructions here. You can also, under the sent folder, access previous entries. So if you commonly do a PELT program, you can enter in as a new program, or you can, in the sent folder, find that PELT program and update the fields that need to be updated, the audience and the participant number. There is some language, coding language here that I want to point out. It is a little messy right now, and we are working. I want to give a big shout out to Andrew, who has been working really hard with the kind of parent company Esri to see if we can simplify this language, if we can make this easier for our rangers to identify those sent submissions. But right now, we're kind of at the, it is what it is at the moment, and we're going to continue forward to find some solutions there. But I did want to point out that it is possible. It's just a little bumpy, but we do recognize it is bumpy. We're going to do better. Donations and revenue are also here. They are required fields, and you'll see why as we kind of get into this, mostly because they prompt additional options for uploading photos and uploading PDFs. Notes is also that a remnant of RMI that has traveled over to PRMI. It's a great way to track those wow moments, or if there was something that happened, if you recruited 5 volunteers for the upcoming field volunteer day, or if you went ahead and signed up 3 people for junior ranger camp because you did some unscheduled programming. If you feel that that's valuable, and absolutely put those in the notes. You want, as a ranger, you want your manager to know that that your unscheduled programming had this impact that we can now track. And the last thing here on the Quick Start Guide is about uploading photos and PDFs. This is something that RMI either couldn't do or it was a little clunky. This is so easy. It's like uploading a photo to Facebook uploading a photo to any social media. It's so easy. Click on the plus button and you pop the photo in. It's super helpful if you have done some trail work and you want to show this is what the trail looked like before and this is what the trail looks like after. I'm amazing and I should get extra recognition for this at the staff meeting. Or if you are so proud of your program that you just delivered and you had this beautiful outline and you're like, hey, I'm so proud of this program. I feel like it's really innovative and I think others may be able to use it at their park. You can upload that as well. If you have an event and you have flyers for your event, you can upload those flyers on there as well. And they're fantastic resources, especially if you are planning the event this year, but you're pretty sure someone else is going to be planning it next year. They will have all of the resources that you used to plan the event at their fingertips. It's also great to have those photos ready you can access for a 515 or not a 5 for a 515 or for a 5 for today shout out. Having that visual of the success of what you've done is really important. All right, and with that, I'm going to stop sharing and ask Andrew if there are any quick and easy questions that we could answer at the moment, or if we're going to save them.
Yeah, it looks like we've been able to answer most of them so far in the chat. There's some questions about, whether some of the big ones that are coming up are, what name are we going to use and why, and will this merge with our past data? The answer is right now, the past data that we have for RMI will be our legacy data set. They're not going to be merged into this new set right now because it's a lot of different questions and a lot of different categories that were included. But so you'll always have access to the old RMI with your logins, and that legacy data is not going away. But this is going to be from like May 1st going forward. So you'll have all your new PRMI stuff will be in here, and you won't need to enter on RMI anymore. And as for figuring out, okay, why do we enter first name, last name, email address? The reason we're doing last name first and then first name, if that makes sense, is just so that when you're searching for your name, it's alphabetical by last name. You can quickly go down to McDonough. There's not too many of them on here rather than looking through all the Sarahs and Andrews and Robs, and quickly have your information to click on when we use our filter to make reports and stuff.
Awesome. Those are great questions. And thank you for bringing up the legacy data. Whoever had that question, it's on my list. So I'm glad it got brought up early, so we made sure we didn't miss it. The next thing I'm going to do is share what ArcGIS looks like on my computer. I'll slide it over so I can see it with all the faces. When I click continue without signing in, it wants to track my location. I'm just sitting at home. It doesn't really need my location at the moment. These are previous forms that we've used in the development of PRMI. This is the image that we're looking for. So if you have, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, if you've filled out any past surveys for us, you'll see them on here too, but the other ones have been closed for submission. So the only one that you'll be able to enter on is the one with the fun logo, PRMI. And then I think Sarah's going to cover too why you would do it on your phone versus on your computer and what the differences are.
Yeah, I haven't found very many differences when I'm using it on my phone and my desktop. It's pretty similar, which I really like. But I can tell you it's very easy to access both ways. So if I miss anything, Andrew, at the end, make sure you make sure we cover it. So here we are in our collect, draft, and sent options. I'm just going to run through a couple of the sent options that I already have. They are under, I think the name I have is Ranger, Park. So Andrew knows what to delete later. So we're going to look, we've got a visitor interaction. So I'm going to view this visitor interaction. I'm not going to put things in live because I want to honor our time and speed through this as we can. This is a visitor interaction. It's a scheduled program, but it happened off-site. So I already know, just based on this offsite in this Greene County, that for me, this is telling me that there was a park ranger from David Crockett Birthplace who did a school program, I think with Greene County. The program itself took place offsite, and then it automatically, with logic, popped it down to the county level. So we can actually have maps later on that show which counties are getting the most offsite programming. I'm really excited to see those in the next few months. Let's get our name and our email. And are you associated with offsite? Well, offsite does not employ this ranger. David Crockett Birthplace does. So under the select association, this ranger chose David Crockett Birthplace. It looks like one of two. There must be two people here. There will be a plus sign here if you wanted to add a new person. So I'm pretending that I clicked that plus sign, and this will start again. So it looks like a staff member from IPE who was also not associated with the site, selected associated with IPE, joined for this program. Title of the program was Live Like Crockett. Shocker there. This is the date it happened on. It was not a fee-based program. And it was a hands-on and a presentation. So these are our program types. You can select up to two, the two that you feel are most applicable to the program. Perhaps it was virtual, it was living history, but I wanted to kind of highlight the guided tour. So the language here for guided tour is kind of anything where there was a starting point and an ending point and you moved through something. So a hike, a float, a pontoon boat experience, a museum tour, anything where you're touring an area. Hands-on and presentation, I'm standing here. I'm just gonna tell you all my thoughts and feelings about this program. I'm gonna present a program. This is a school program I know, and so they've had a hands-on active portion of the program too. Program topic can be, you can select up to 3. This was a history program. It was not part of a multi-program event. So this is where what we kind of mentioned earlier about that event name is really important. If this program was part of an event, we would have an extra field here to put the name of the event, but it wasn't. It was just a program at the school. This is a repeated program. This ranger and IPE member went to this school and did this program 3 times. And instead of entering 3 separate entries, we just clicked on, yes, it's a repeated program, popped in the number and the total number of attendance. It is important to note here that this doesn't do math on its own like this program. It does not math. I do not math. This program does not math. So total attendance is what you're going to put there for all these classes. So this is telling me we got about 20 kids per class. It's a school group. Want to go through these just a bit. General audience program. I think we kind of all are pretty clear with general audience. A non-school organized group. If you're thinking scouts or a special school club or a special interest group that comes to your park for programming, any organized group, we're going to track through that option. And then we've got school groups, because as part of our agency goals, we are working to strengthen our relationships with schools and kind of track who we're working with and how often. So this ranger is at David Crockett High School in Greene County. It was a high school group and some university students joined in. Fantastic. There's no donations or revenue for this experience, but the ranger wanted to note that this was part 2 of a 4-part series of Crockett's life. If there were some photographs, if the ranger, if they have permission to take photographs at the school, they could add photographs here. There's some mapping that I'm going to let Andrew talk about later. And then at the bottom, there is an option to attach files. So if this was in partnership with ETSU and there was some kind of formal partnership document that could be uploaded here, that could be an option with a description, or if this experience with these university students resulted in something that the university students created, I think that's a huge assessment of the work. It's a huge thing that we would want to know about. So that's something that they could be adding on here. And this marks the general, this must be marking more of where I am when I put this in. So I'm done looking at this. I'm going to click the X. I'm going to scroll down and choose an event. Rob, is there a question?
Yeah, before you move on, we've had lots of great questions in there. I see we got some serious data junkies who are like, why are we only asking this? We could know this, and we could know this, and we could know this. The good news is we're starting with collecting this data for now. We can always grow and expand the tool if we want to collect more in the future. But until we get everybody who's reporting, even those who aren't data junkies amongst us, we're going to go ahead and start with these simplified tools with the idea that we may grow for greater detail. So thank you for including that. The other question we've had asked is, why can I only select 2? Why can I only select 3? Well, we know there are those out there amongst us who are like, somebody asked about the sun and the sun is a star, so I'm going to select astronomy, and somebody asked about this and somebody asked about that. No, we're really looking at, when we target programs, when we design them, when we pick the techniques we use, to really make sure that we're matching the technique to the audience, to the topic, to the need, to the theme. So by picking the 3 and the 2 that are associated most with your program, that will help us to better assess the direction of interpretation statewide, by area, by park, by region, by topic. If everybody just picked everything all at once, then it wouldn't help us shape things that well. Another question was, repeated number means how many times that program was repeated in that day. So that's correct. And then we had somebody say, when we're doing offsite, can our Tennessee State natural areas be added to the drop down? I'm not sure about that. I think you may just, yeah.
The natural areas are an option of where. So if you click natural area, it will automatically prompt a specific natural area location to be included.
I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. There's a question about looking back at trail projects. I think that will specifically be covered in the resource project section. And how do we as rangers document donations? I think you covered that. And we've already talked about JVPN. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else. Oh, and then we had someone asked about searching data. So this is the submission tool. In order to look at park level, individual ranger or program provider, areas, or system-wide, you'll use the tools that Andrew showed in the beginning of the presentation. Right now, we're focused on reporting data into the collection and collecting data, and then we'll have other documents to support you in pulling the data from those dashboards and analysis tools. So these are 2 separate things. That it's one is feeding the data, one is actually getting the numbers from it. And I think that covers everything.
Yeah, awesome. Andrew, will you make sure that in the question and answer section today that we will go over all of the cool mapping features? Want to make sure we get
Definitely.
to that.
You got
Awesome.
it. The only other thing I was going to mention too is think about where if you're going to be most likely submitting on a phone or on the computer, because when you're going to copy stuff to a new survey or copy your previous answers, it'll only be available from the device that you used it on. So if you submitted it on your phone and then you go back on your computer and you're like, hey, I submitted it on my phone, but I don't see that as an answer to copy things over from, it's because they're on different devices. And because we're continuing as a guest for each of these, it doesn't know that you're like the same person. So if you're going to be doing a lot of if you got long programs and you want to do it on a computer, keep doing it on the computer, and that'll have all your saved submissions there, and same with on your phone.
Awesome, thank you. Before we get into breakout groups, I want to give a little quick view at a couple of other examples. This is an example very similar with a school program in Morgan County. I'm going to pick on the amazing, cannot say enough great things about Kaylee Kempton and her work with the Save the Children After School program in Morgan County. So this is an example of an offsite school program with Rangers from Frozen Head. Pelts and Skulls. It is not a fee-based program. Again, it's hands-on presentation, conservation, wildlife. Not part of an event. She does repeat it. She usually repeats it more than 3 times, but we're having 3 here and a total attendance of 60. It is a school group, and I do want to point out that the total attendance is 60 because, and there may be adults involved. So one question that I know came up with RMI was, if there are adults there with the homeschoolers, or if there are adults there with the scouting troop, are they considered the audience? So if I was clicking on general audience, which I think I might go do right now, if I'm in collect and I click on general audience, it's going to give me the options of scheduled program. It's going to give me the options of adults only, children and youth only, children, youth, and adults. This is something I wanted to just clarify, because if there are adults there for the program, they're there in support of the program, in support of their scouts, in support of their homeschool group. But the program wasn't written for them. If it's a creek crawl for 10-year-olds, it's awesome that those adults are there. But the program audience was children and youth, because that program was developed specifically with that audience in mind. If there were adults there and you want to count them in the number of people who came and the total attendance, absolutely count them. They count. They're humans and we like them and we're glad they're visiting the park or we're working with them. They count in the attendance. But when we are talking about audience and audience age, it's who is the intended targeted audience for that program. So if it's a homeschool group, it's children and youth only, but adding in those adults in the attendance. If it is an adult, there are some parks that I know of that are working with adults who have different abilities and they come to the park as part of an organized group. Even if they bring children with them, the intended audience of the program is adults. And if you have questions about that, you can always add in the notes section additional attendees that you feel like weren't covered. But when we're talking about an audience, we're talking about that targeted intended audience. This is a great example of I've kind of filled it out, I've started it, but I haven't finished it, so I'm going to save it in drafts. I want to give one quick example of a resource management project, because this is going to come up. This is at Natchez Trace. This is a resource management project. The ranger is associated with Natchez. It's a natural resource management project with invasive species removal and trail work. This project is in progress. It shows that I'm viewing this because I've already submitted it, that this work's been going on for a while. I entered a project start date, but now I'm going to pretend that I am this same ranger at Natchez, and I want to edit this because we just finished the project and I am so excited. So I can going to click on edit. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to actually copy, paste. I'm going to change the date. I'm going to complete. I'm going to set my complete date as the 25th. How I got it done on a Sunday, I mean, just magical. And then I'm going to click this checkbox at the bottom, send now. So this way, as a supervisor, you can see how long it took, or as the ranger, you can see how long it took to do this particular trail. And you can put additional notes in there as well. Another example I want to throw out real quickly is an event. This event, I think I picked on Johnsonville and popped up there Civil War days. Might be a subconscious thing because I keep intending to go and it either gets canceled or I can't make it. And I just really, really want to go. So I've clicked an event. The organizer of this is the park ranger. Yes, associated. It would be very unusual if someone else was planning this for them. The name is Civil War Days 2021. It's really important that the event name is specific to that event. Excuse me. I think adding a year really helps say, okay, this is the Civil War Days for this year. And I know that Bob Holliday is going to dot his I's and cross his T's, and he is going to make sure that everyone who's programming for this Civil War Days is going to have this event name, Civil War Days 2021, listed as their, well, is this program part of a multi-day event? That's going to be the event name they're going to enter in, because next year or even after the event, Bob can go in and search all of the programs or everything that was associated to this event, and it's all together. It pretty much means that next year's event almost plans itself. So I see some really great opportunity in making sure we're keeping things very consistent in our names and uploading any photographs or PDFs that were helpful. This event, I didn't put a description in here because I just don't feel qualified. It's such a big deal event. I didn't want to put in a terrible description. It does have interpretive programming. This is how long the event is. This is the number of hours of planning it took. I just made these up. Cost of expenditures, again, made it up. Everybody comes to Civil War Days. Total attendance. These are some funds. I did list some external partners. This is not a required field, but it's really important if we want to give a shout out to the Friends group, if they've supported. If there is a group that we're consistently working with in multiple parts of the state, it really puts us in a good position to go for some grant funding, some big time grant funding, if we can show that we've had this success at more than one park. So we are a desirable partner for a grant. And then the notes here, day one are school students, day two for the public. So I am gonna close this and stop sharing my screen. And we're going to try out some breakout groups. So,
real quick, Sarah.
Yes.
I know we're a little bit behind, but we've had lots of good chatter. So, so volunteers are not entered in PRMI. Those activities are entered through Galaxy Digital. When we need to, we'll merge the data on the back end for reporting those numbers at the end. So where it may get a little bit confusing is I host an event and 3 volunteers helped me host that event. I will enter the event in PRMI and those 3 volunteers will go enter their hours in Galaxy Digital. If I am hosting an Earth Day event that is come volunteer at the park, those numbers will be entered in Galaxy Digital, not as an event in PRMI.
Absolutely. If you want to give volunteers a shout out because they were just above and beyond, entering them as an external partner is definitely an option.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep.
But if it is a park program that includes volunteerism, as a method of connecting with an audience that still goes in Galaxy Digital, because we need to track the hours that they donated to the state.
Yeah,
Sorry to
absolutely.
interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. The only other volunteer item I could think of is if you were just, this may be one of the examples in the scenarios that are about to go out, so don't cheat. But if you're doing some trail work and people pass by and think you're amazing at your job and they want to volunteer because of the work they saw you do, you are amazing at your job. You can pop that in the notes as, I'm so great, I recruited people to come to a volunteer trail event, and I didn't really do anything except look really cool doing this trail work. So that's another option for volunteers. Anything else before we do breakout groups? Okay, if everybody's back, we're going to move through these fairly quickly. So I am going to make sure that I can share my screen. And I will have this available as speakers are going to talk us through it. So we've got group one. Who from group one wants to share? I will read your scenario, and while I'm reading, somebody from group one can decide to present. So group one was challenged with saying that they are a ranger from Edgar Evans, and you provide a virtual Birds of Prey program to 25 second grade students at Smith County Elementary. This program is part of a series of programs with the same class about local wildlife. It did not generate any revenue, but the school donated $2 per student. They must really like you. All right, group one, how does this look in PRMI?
Well, there you go. We did a visitor interaction and scheduled program. Edgar Evans, that's what I put there.
Did it take place at Edgar Evans?
No. Well, it was a virtual. So
there is a virtual option. It's kind of a trick question.
Okay.
So thanks for going with it.
And then we actually put the ones that were talking. We made it a 3-person team because Kenny had to step away and one of the others had to lock the doors at the office. So under presenter name, we put my name, and then I added in my email, and then added Mike Dovis and Jeffrey Johnson as other presenters.
Fantastic. So the only suggestion I have is that here where it's associated with virtual, if you guys wanted to pick your park or who you're associated with, so the park will get credit is my only suggestion there. But you guys got it. I love how you added everybody. That was an extra.
Then Birds of Prey. I put today's date because there wasn't one provided. It was not a fee-based program. It was virtual. And then we did it was a virtual presentation. And then we did wildlife as the subject matter. It was not a multi-program event. It was not a repeated program. 25 in attendance. It was a school group. I did not know the name of the school, so I made one up. And then so K through 2. I think it was second grade, wasn't it?
It was second grade.
Okay.
So I think the description was Smith County Elementary. So you just scroll down to Smith County. It was a lot of details in like 2 sentences, so I totally get that.
I got to where I was rushing there at the end.
Thank you for the feed. We're going to definitely be providing more time next time. Zoom time is its own thing. This is great. You guys nailed it.
And $50 donation, no revenue.
So
go ahead.
I mean, here you could put no notes unless you guys had notes. Something here that was in the description of it was a series of programs, kind of talking about how you're working multiple times, or I had a kid try to touch the bird and then we had to end it early because everybody lost their mind. Any other things you want to note?
No, me and the virtual keyboard on my phone weren't getting along. So
We're going to totally get it. We're going to work out we're hopefully going to get accustomed to all the technology. That was fantastic. Yay, group 1. All right. Who from group 2, you guys can decide as I'm reading. Group
That's
2.
me.
Okay, awesome. Is going to, your park is offering a popular boating tour 3 times a day with a max number of attendees at 20, $5 a person. The tour is led by a different ranger SIR each time. This is the tricky one. Sorry, Brady. There's more than one way to do this, and you can discuss how you wanted to log it. So walk me through.
So we went in, collect, and then visitor interaction, scheduled program. Took place. I just picked by mall because it was at the top of the list and we were short on time, even though they don't have a place. Presenter name, ranger, park, email, park.ranger@tn.gov. Associated, yes. Added another one and just put it in as a seasonal. Just put SR, seasonal, and then their stuff. Program title, boat tour, date, I just put it for today. Fee-based, yes. Program type, guided tour and presentation, because you're presenting as you're driving for the tour. Program topic, I picked hydrology and wildlife because that's usually what you see when you're on a boat tour. Part of multi-event program, no. Repeated program, yes. Total attendance 60 because everybody loves boat tours and signs up for them. Repeat number 3 times. Yeah, total attendance 60. General audience, and it was children, youth, and adults. No donations, but I think it's $300 in revenue. External partners, no notes, no photos, no nothing like that because I was driving the boat. So
Awesome. Thank you for being safe and at by mall in your boat and not hurting anybody with your photo taking. That was fantastic. Awesome. All right, and if you guys have any questions, you can hang on or pop them in the chat. Yay, Brady. All right. I'm going to close this and open it up to group 3. We're speeding through here. Group 3, you are patrolling in your park and you see 5 adult visitors just wandering around. When you stop and ask them how they're doing, they ask you about the wildflowers along the trail. You chat with them for about 20 minutes about the park's botanical history. They are so excited that they sign up for the next wildflower hike scheduled at your park. Way to be amazing at your job. All right, group 3.
Unless somebody else jumps in, I'm willing to, because we kind of got lost on the beginning. So out of group 3, does anybody else want to jump and go with it, or you want me to? So we would have done, of course, it's an unscheduled program, which is our first impromptu. Where it took place would have just been on the hiking trail at the park. So we just chose a quick park. The 3 of us that were in the group, just names and email added in. Associated with the park would be yes. The date, number of visitors would be 5 adult visitors. Donations, no. Revenue, no. External partners, no. But the wow moment, which is a big one, is that they did sign up for the next program offered because they enjoyed interacting with the rangers and learning about the wildflowers there.
Fantastic. Nice job. Thank you, David.
Before you close out, Sarah, I want to emphasize again that the reason we put in the zeros for revenue and donation is that it triggers all the attachments to come up. So if you're not seeing the attachments down below, like photos and stuff, it's probably because you haven't entered the revenue and donation thing yet. It's just to make the survey look a little bit smaller. But yeah, just if you're trying to find the map section or the photos, just make sure you put in the little zeros up atop if there were no donations or no external partners, all that kind of stuff. Actually, external partners is optional. So
All right, thank you. Group 3, Group 4. Group 4 at Norris Dam, you and your SIR present about CCC history and Tennessee state parks to a group of 30 homeschooled ninth graders. In the program, the students are asked to identify types of tools the CCC used in constructing buildings and parks. Michael from the Lenore Museum supported your program by providing extra hands and exhibit items. You rock. Everybody wants to program with you. There's no revenue generated or donations for this program. Group 4, what do you got?
All right, unless Will really wants to go, I can take this over. Yeah, I'll just kind of work down the list then. We started off our program as a visitor interaction and then selected scheduled program. Seems like if we have 30 homeschooled students coming, we probably scheduled this in advance.
I hope so.
Yeah. Where scheduled program took place, it's going to be at Norris Dam State Park. And let's see, presenter name for this, in this scenario, I put myself, my email associated with Norris Dam. Not in real life, but in this scenario I am. So I did that. And then went to additional people, added SIR, SIR's email associated with Norris Dam, yes. Then a third presenter, Michael M., and then said, no, he is not associated. And then it prompts select association, and there, I guess, Lenore Museum would be added to that piece.
Yeah, so I don't think Lenore Museum is added on there. This is kind of a special case because it's on the kind of on the park, kind of not on the park. I would probably offer him this option of guest or other, or you could just list him as an external partner. Either.
Oh, I got you. See, I didn't hit that arrow earlier. That's okay.
Yeah, there's a whole lot listed down here at the bottom.
So what happens if you click other down there? Oh, cool. Other association. Nice.
I love the person who built the form. It's like, oh.
Like I said, Andrew, that's exactly what I was planning on doing. So
thanks, Noah. That's great.
And then it goes down to program title, CCC History in Tennessee State Parks, date, today, April. And fee-based program, no. Program type, hands-on, living history, presentation are the three that I selected on that. So then topic, history and recreation skills. Part of multi-program event, no. Repeated program, no. Total attendance, 30. Audience, a school group. This one I was a little torn on whether it's going to be school group or other, but on name of school, I just put homeschooled. If they were an organization, then I guess you could put that name, school location, whichever county this homeschool group coincides with. And I have a question on that. Are you able to put multiple counties in there if they were coming from multiple counties?
I don't believe so. I think you have to choose one county. If there's additional counties, you can put them in the notes, and we'll be reviewing the notes as we're going along for the first few months to see what changes we need to make. But you were totally right. This is a tricky one that we popped in here just to make the point of if it's a homeschool group, it's still a school group. But if you don't know their name, you could just type homeschool and the county that you think they're from or that they've told you they're from. So right on the right track there.
Grades, they were ninth graders, so grades 9 through 12. Donation was 0, revenue 0. External partners, this is where I put the Lenore Museum in here. Notes, wow, I put wow. All of the people at the program want to present with us in the future and start doing living history on their own.
Fantastic. You must be really, really good at this. So yay for Noah and group 4. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to pop down to group 5. Group 5, you travel from your park, Pickwick Landing, to Big Hill Pond for a wildlife event called Tennessee Wildlife is the Best. At the event, you table, which is a verb apparently, with your SIR, showing park visitors the varying wildlife from West Tennessee to East Tennessee. You were there for 4 hours, and approximately 75 visitors stopped by to ask you about the items on the table. They really, really like you too. All right, group 5, what you got?
Okay, I think we had some computer issues with some of the others, so trying to get all this put in and run out of time, but we'll blow through it. All right, so we put visitor interaction.
Yep.
And I would say event.
So you are right that it was an event. You are correct. But this is the program within an event. So I told you I made these really tricky, so we'd have to talk about all these things. Might be a teacher trick. So you were right. It does happen at an event, but this is the unscheduled-ish program that you gave in an event. And I call it unscheduled because you're there and you're available to people to come by. But you're not forcing them to come by, and they're not signing up to come by at a specific time for a full event. So it sounds a little tricky, and we're totally available for more conversation about these for anybody who has questions. But you're right, it's totally at an event, but it's kind of unscheduled.
I would look at it through a slightly different philosophy.
Oh, absolutely, we can change.
Yeah, so you're scheduled to be at a booth from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That is the program. And the number of participants are the people who come up to your booth and you interact with throughout the time that you're there. So I think that's probably how, I believe it was Tyson talking, was looking at it. And I mean, we could poll the audience and see how they would, but I would look at this as a scheduled program, and that's how it would be counted.
I mean, you are scheduling yourself to be there for sure.
Yes.
Making the travel arrangements.
If it were part of a larger event, like I was at a park and there were 7 booths, then we would set that up as a park hosted event and one of the booths was there. But I would definitely consider any presentation from a booth format to be scheduled. I'm sorry if I missed that in our planning sessions.
Not at all. We threw on some complicated ones in order to have these conversations. So this is perfect.
Yeah. Does anybody have a counterpoint to
that? All right. Was it Tyson? You want to walk us through we've decided it's a scheduled program at an event. You want to take it from there?
All right. So it took place at Big Hill Pond. Presenter was the Ranger Park, and then the Ranger Seasonal, of course, and then the park.ranger@tn.gov. No, not associated with Big Hill Pond.
No, they were associated with the landing. All right, perfect. Very nice.
Whatever that title was, Tennessee.
Wildlife is the best. All righty. I'm just going to pretend I typed it in there.
Yeah, that'll work. Today's date, no fee-based program. All right, so gonna say maybe hands-on in presentation.
Yeah, for this wildlife table, you probably did have some good hands-on materials. So absolutely.
So we were talking a lot about wildflowers, so I'm gonna say botany and wildlife.
Yeah, that's all right. Here's your biggie question.
So I don't recall that it was part of well, I don't know. We were doing the wildflower part, but it was for wildlife. So I'm gonna guess yes.
Yeah, it is part of a big event. And when you click on yes, this event title is going to pop down here. So whatever Big Hill Pond told us to call it is what we're going to type in here. So So when Justin pulls it up, it'll show everything that happened at that event. So whatever the event name is. Awesome.
I don't think it was a repeated program.
I mean, you could put yes or no here. Is probably, you probably said it over and over and over. If I don't know, have you worked most tables that I've worked, I'm saying it over and over and over and over. But if you only said it once and you got 75 people to stop by, if that's what happened, you know, that's what happens. So just whatever reflects your
And
experience.
whatever the total, then whatever the total attendance was, I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
General audience. Children, youth, and adults.
There you go. Yeah, and I don't think
there's any donations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any money involved.
All right. And if there's any notes or anything, if not,
Not to my recollection.
awesome. You just put in the NA and you're good to go. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Yay. All right. Great job to group 5. All right. Group 6. You planned a program with your friends group about wildflowers at Cedars of Lebanon. There were 7 assigned members registered, but on the day of the program, it rained and none of the members showed up, but they still like you. Who from group 6 wants to walk us through it? Probably be pretty quick. All of group 6 run away.
I will. We put a visitor interaction, and then a program and activity category. Scheduled program, and then it took place at Cedars of Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first and last name of the park ranger. Then the program title, Wildflower Hike.
Mm-hmm.
Then date, today's date, and then no for fee-based program. And I guess guided tour on this one.
Yep, absolutely.
And then for the program topic, botany.
Yep.
No on the multi-program event. Repeated program, would it matter, yes or no? Or we could have done this before, I guess.
You could have done it before. It doesn't look like you're repeating it in the description, but it is a required field. So we're going to say, no, you didn't repeat it.
Okay.
And
And 0 on the attendance.
Perfect. Yep.
Would it be general audience program or other?
I think you're right.
With the friends group.
I think you got it. So it looks like you planned it for your friends group. So it could be a non-school organized group because they're an already established group. If you were planning this for the general public with your friends group, then it's general audience. But since it was for your friends group, that organized group, the way to go.
So it'd probably be adults or adults only.
Yeah.
And donation none, and then revenue 0. And then on the notes, we put no one showed, it rained, or it rained us out.
Perfect. It's important that you guys still get credit for planning this and doing everything you could do to make it happen. And you should still absolutely get credit for that. So fantastic job.
Hey, Sarah, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Well, but this is your friends group and the friends are volunteers. So how come this is not a volunteer project that would go over into the Galaxy Digital?
I think they planned, maybe it was a recruiting tool for the friends group where the friends group's trying to recruit new members. And so they wanted a program, an official program from the park.
All right, thank you.
We're constantly making notes on our scenarios here, so thank you. All right, I'm going to move to group 7. We're going to try to go through these as quickly as possible just so everybody can get in and out of here. Group 7, you're at Knox County Elementary. You're presenting 3 times with students. And this is sponsored from a grant because you are amazing. And you're going to upload some photos and such. So Nate, you are off mute. Are you volunteering?
Yes, I was voluntold. So yes, we're going to do the visitor interaction. This is a scheduled program. So it's off-site. It was at a school.
Yep.
So yeah, Knox County Elementary, we'll call it.
We're going to pretend this is all. We know you know how to enter your name.
Yep. Yeah. Program title, Pelts and Skulls. And it's going to be a presentation, no fee based. This program topic is going to be wildlife. I guess it could be some archaeology as well, the skulls. Not a multi-program. It's repeated 3 times throughout the day. So that'd be 60 total with the class anyway.
Do you want to count the teachers?
Yes, we'd count the teachers. I'd say there's same class, so there's 61 throughout the day. I'm not sure. I really have never taught in a school, so I don't know how that works.
We're going to make that happen. All right, so you got 61.
And so that's a school group. Again, Knox County Elementary, location, Knox County. We've got 2nd graders, so it's K-2. There's no donation or revenue, but we do have an external partner, Patagonia, which is a really killer partner for this program. And we're going to upload some photos of the kids looking at the pelts and skulls, and go ahead and upload our program outline so another ranger can pick it up and do it another day.
You guys rock at life. Thank you so much. Great job. All right, group 8 at Bledsoe, you are with some scouting groups, with a scouting group of 9-year-olds. Who from group 8?
That would be me. I got voluntold just like Nate did. Go figure.
You got voluntold?
Y'all did such a great job with this app. Even an area manager could do this. I did it on my phone. So anyway, this was a visitor interaction, a scheduled program. Bledsoe Creek State Park. Chris Thurman, who should be speaking now, but is not. He is associated with the park. Program title was Creek Crawl. We put it down as yesterday. It was a fee-based program. We decided it was hands-on and a guided tour. There was debate on the guided tour, but we did that anyway. It says we talked about geology and wildlife, and I should have clicked hydrology. I did not, but we could have done all 3.
You could go back later and edit it.
Well, I did edit this part because originally we said there was going to be a multi-program event, and we selected 3. And as we were going through this process, I decided, it wasn't. So we said no. Went back and edited that. Repeat program, no. Total attendance 17. It was a non-school organized group of children and youth only. No donations, $17 worth of revenue, and put that they did something else. Oh yeah, they volunteered to pick up trash. They were so inspired.
You guys are so inspiring. It's amazing.
That's Chris Thurman for you.
Well done, boss man.
That was great. Power group there. Very nice job. Thank you. All right. Group 9's at Reelfoot Lake. This one's going to be a little bit different. So you're at Reelfoot Lake. You spend 3 hours updating an exhibit for your visitor center. And the following week, you spend another 4 hours and you complete the exhibit. You rock at exhibits. All right, group 9.
All right, so this was resource management, and it took place at Reelfoot. It was organized by Park Ranger, email, all that stuff. Cultural resource management, exhibits. Summary put that updating exhibits. We did, the way I did it is probably the long way. Project and process, did the start date, sent it, then went back and found it, and then edited it for the completion date. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, or you can do it all in one step.
That's exactly the right way to do it. I think you can do both. You can click both project in progress and project completed, just in case you wanted to wait till it was completed, since if you were doing it, you know, back-to-back days. But yeah, that's exactly right. Fantastic.
No donation, no revenue, no external partners, and then the notes, you put your hours there.
Fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful. I didn't put anything in revenue or donation, so the option to put pictures on there didn't pop up, but if you want to put a before and after to show how awesome you are, you can definitely do that too. So very nice job, Group 9. Thank you, thank you. Group 10, you're at Booker T.
Hey.
All right, so who's presenting for Booker T?
It's me, Sean Renone.
Oh, okay, I couldn't see on my little screen here. All right, walk us through.
All right, so we went to resource management entry type and selected Booker T. I put my name in there and my email, and associated with Booker T, yes. And I added one person who was associated with Harrison Bay. And natural resource management, work summary. Actually, I put trails. Work summary was just a note of what we accomplished. Project in process, because when is a trail actually ever really done? Project start date was today. And 0 donation, 0 revenue, no external partners. And the interactions, I listed that we met 2 volunteer teen hikers who are going to be coming to our upcoming volunteer day.
If teenagers think you're cool, you are really cool. So congratulations on that.
Yeah,
and
the guys at Booker T really are.
Yeah, they are. So thank you so much. That was perfect. Great job, Group 10. We only have 2 left. Amazing. All right, Group 11. Let's power through. All right, Group 11, you are a ranger at Cove Lake and you visit Indian Mountain, because I'm difficult and wanted to make it difficult.
I guess I'll talk. We had a little bit of trouble with the hours.
Yeah.
But we hit resource management. Is it going to let me? I don't know.
So you are you the Group 11 for, you're a ranger at Cove Lake, you visit Indian Mountain to collaborate on a program?
Yes, ma'am. We were coal mining.
Oh,
presentation.
So it was a presentation. So it was a program. So we'll go with visitor interaction, scheduled program, and I made it difficult because
right.
But yeah, you're at Indian Mountain, even though I said you're from Cove Lake.
We put it Indian Mountain in there.
Perfect.
And then we put my last name and first name, email. We did not put that I was associated, and we had one that was. The program title was coal mining. And then today's date, it was not a fee-based program. And then we put presentation. And then I would say history and other, because we didn't know what. And then right there is where I'd put coal mining.
Yeah.
And no, on the repeated program. It did not give us an attendance.
Everybody wanted to come. So
Okay.
I put 100. It's just so popular.
And audience, I guess other.
So I think it was it wasn't specific. I tried to make it difficult. So I'd probably assume it was a general audience. So I'm just going to pop in general audience, unless it was a specialized group that's like really interested in coal mining and they just wanted to know more. So maybe they're organized.
I would say both children and adults then.
All righty.
And there was a $20 donation and no revenue.
Fantastic.
And that's it.
Well, if you got a $20 donation for a coal mining into East Tennessee program,
so
like you must be really good.
That was cool.
Yeah, I would say I'm amazing in the note.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Great job. Thank you so much. Good job, Group 11. All right, last one. This is probably our most complicated one. So we're going to pick on York for this one. Group 12, what do you got?
Well, I've got two dogs who are going crazy right now. Hope you don't hear in the background. So this was a visitor interaction. And we're looking at, although it was a training, apparently we are doing some of the training. So I guess we'll call it an event.
So there was an event. There is an event called.
I'm sorry, this is scheduled program. Sorry, pardon me. This is scheduled program, part of events. We just could schedule program.
Yep, that's what I got you saying. Yep.
So Sergeant Alvin York, we put our names in our email. The program title was Caring for Clothing. The date was not specified. It was not a fee-based program. We're assuming it is a living history presentation. The topic was history. It was, yes, part of a multi-program event. Maybe might be some conservation there too, if we're conserving.
So there could be conservation. I'm looking for a category that I feel like used to be here and just disappeared. So I'm going to pop it in here under jobs and careers because you're talking about, you gave a professional development you're talking about the job and the career of this. So I'm just going to give you extra credit for that because you deserve a gold star. So for anybody who didn't get this program description, there was Alvin C. York's Park hosted interpretive living history training for everybody, and Marty came to give a session of training.
Where I got that from, I don't know. How to care for your clothing, get a washing machine. No, just kidding. All right, so it is part of a multi-program event called Interpretive Living History 101. It was a repeated program, so we did it twice. Total attendance is 70 people. And it was a non-school organized group, presumably adults only, no donations, no revenue, no external partners listed, and notes would be, we could say, part of TSP training on interpretive living history or something along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to brag on any of the Rangers who did really well, or if you, let me pop in my 0 here and my 0 here. And if you have any silly photographs because Hobart made a silly face or, something, and you want to
Hobart made a silly face? That has never happened before.
God. Yeah, you could save his silly face forever here in the attachment. Very nice. Thank you, Marty. And group 12, very nice job. Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop sharing so you can stop listening to me and seeing all my stuff. So that's going to wrap us up for all of the examples. Thank you for participating. I feel like you guys have got this, but we are available. Andrew is available. I'm available for questions that you might have. Remembering that RMI is still available for legacy data from now until probably eternity. But on May 1st, we're going to switch over officially to have PRMI take over. Yay. Thank you, Andrew. So the survey has been updated just like that for that jobs and careers option. Thank you. Anything else I have? So review the training documents for any questions, and be on the lookout. Any questions that you have in the chat or that you presented in our question and answer section after this, we're going to record those with those answers and have those available for you as well. Because as we get into this collecting data, there's going to be a unique situation that's like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do it right, but I don't really know what to do. We are here. I don't leave this spot in this screen ever. So we're always here for you guys. Thank you for coming. And I'm just going to say you are free to go unless you want to stay. And you have questions and we want to walk through some scenarios. We'll be available. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys soon.
One more question. I'll stop bugging. This is a question about data entry. Nancy, I know you told us, this is a Nancy question, I guess. In previous iterations of the RMI, when we had, say, a Facebook program where we had, like, say, a folder of pictures that was interpretive and people had likes and loves, and are we still including that sort of thing in the new PRMI? And so as a virtual program or not?
If it's just a Facebook post, I would say no.
Okay.
But if it's a Facebook Live event, I would say yes.
Okay, so because before if we had a folder of pictures, we done interpretation of those photographs as an interpretive sort of program. You don't want that in virtual.
Well, let me ask Sarah, Andrew, what do you think?
What's kind of cool is, like, you might be able to, I don't know if we want to do this, but if you did post a video or you had an interaction and 60 people saw it the first time around, but you've noticed that number has gone up over time, the nice thing in the form, you could go back in and update the number of people that it had reached, but that is a little different, than just a post. We want to kind of differentiate those.
Sure.
Yeah, I think if it was a video, I think saying it's a virtual, I did this virtual video, I think it's fantastic. I worked really hard on it. I deserve credit. I posted it to the TSP interpretation YouTube page. I did that research. I did the planning. I did the shooting and the editing. I'm going to log that in as a virtual program. I'm going to put a link to that program in the notes section. And if, like Andrew said, if I want to go back and edit the attendance number, that will never, ever be accurate. But as far as just like a post, I'm not sure we can add those in.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah,
no,
it's a great question.
Know what the policy is, so whatever.
Yep.
We probably ought to ask Rob, though, since he's the new boss. And
I'll write it down. It's part of our Q&A
thank
now.
you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, because there's a difference between just saying, hey, we're having this new thing, come see this, where I don't know if you've ever seen a lot of the posts, I'll have like 13 or 14 still pictures, each with a small interpretive, paragraph to go with it. So I don't know if that counts as a virtual program or not, or it's a kind of a gray area. And you can't put numbers, but you can put, like, post reach and engagement in the notes.
In the notes.
Number 0 and then put,
I'm not sure how it would hurt to do it, though. I mean, now that I've said don't do it, what would it hurt to do it?
Okay, I don't know.
I'll reach out to Rob and get some clarification and make sure that's part of our FAQs.
Thank you, Marty.
All right.
Appreciate your patience, Marty.
All right. Anybody else have questions, thoughts?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Well, I was just a thought that popped up with the analysis that comes out at the end. I was curious when it populates to the analysis area. Do drafts populate, or is it just a final, sent and processed form?
Andrew, am I right to say it's just what's been sent?
Yeah, just what's been sent. So if you had put in, like, the number of people that you thought was going to be at an event, or the people who participated in planning the event, and then you gave the axe to one of them, they wouldn't show up if that was just in your draft, just what you finally submit. And if you change it at any point, those results will be updated too. If you ever need to change numbers or add an additional presenter, you could always go in and do that, and it will update in the final reporting.
Sounds very good. Thank you so much. This is awesome. Thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you, Noah.
Anybody else? Mike Dobus raised his hand, just popped up on my screen. What do you got, Mike?
Can someone change another person's submission? You said you can alter a submission, so can someone change someone else's submission?
No, that's kind of what's kind of cool about, I mean, maybe if you wanted to, if you're saying that you want to be able to do that, we don't have the capabilities. But if you're saying you're protecting them, then yes, we do protect them. It's your phone, it's your computer, your device. That's the only one that knows that submission was created. So there'd be no way for me to ever update your things. It would have to come from your phone or your computer. So the security of that is kind of locked down to your device.
Thank you.
So I wondered, and Andrew, so each park has one official login, is that right?
That's correct, true. Yeah, we don't need them right now to submit any forms.
Yeah, but what if a park manager wanted their staff to, I mean, what if a park wanted it, could they all use the same login, or is that kind of discouraged?
We've been gotten in trouble for doing that before.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is, even if I sign in, I have a login personally for this Esri technology.
Thank you, Chris Thurman. I saw that. I'm sorry.
Even if I sign in on my phone and my computer, they still don't talk to each other, even though it's the same account. It's really just specific to the device.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Chris Thurman.
Well, I guess this is something that you tech people have probably thought about. So when we update phones or we get a new computer, how's that going to impact? Because I just know park people are constantly dropping a phone in the lake or whatever, and suddenly, even though they have the same number and same email, it's actually a new device. I don't know, that just popped into my mind.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, the only thing that you would lose if you got a new device is the ability to copy send surveys. So yes, you might have to spend 3 more minutes to make your submission again. If it's like your favorite one the program that you run all the time, that's the only thing that might be lost if your phone went swimming without you.
But if and when we secure some more logins for the field, Andrew, if my phone goes in the lake, I get a new phone, I download the app and I log in, will it then pull it back up?
I'm not sure. I still think it is related to the device itself. And that's why they don't talk between the computer or the person, even if you do have a login for it.
Great question, David.
And so now, if I understand correctly, there's a way to track, let's say Junior Ranger. I do 5 programs for Junior Ranger camp. I can enter those as programs, but all the planning, all the advertisement, the filming, the editing, all that goes under event. Is that correct?
You got it.
Okay. And my last question, I promise is my last question. So the fee and donations, the fees, so if it's a paid program and I have 10 people sign up, $10, $100, then under fees, that'll be $100. Okay. Thanks, that was it.
Oh, fantastic, those are easy, that's great. Any other questions?
I've got one more if you good. This just popped in my head really quickly. I haven't tested it at all, but does the notes section have a limit on characters yet? I mean, I hope not. But can you just go forever on it?
I'm not sure. I will check and I can let you know. I'm looking to see how it's set up. I know I can limit it. I just don't know if there is a limit if I haven't specified it.
All right, yeah, sounds good. Because I could just see the opportunity to go, really in depth breaking down whatever occurred with the event. So for future planning and stuff like that. Just a
that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Not a rush on the answer.
Yeah. Well, I'll look into that and I'll get back to you personally on it.
I appreciate it.
Noah is very demanding. He needs the answer right now.
No. I like Andrew. He's the man.
We had a question from Tanner as well. Is like, will it be able to to make local data from one device onto another. Really what we're going to do is just, you're going to use your analysis and your dashboards to look at everything that's related to you as a person. So it wouldn't matter which device you were looking at, which device you submitted it on. That's our idea. So you'd go into this analysis tab, you'd pick your email address out, and it'd have all the data from your phone, your computer, or tablet. That's kind of the idea. And the only reason, if you want, you would just have to, if you were doing that one feature, which is copy sent data to a new survey, you'd have to use the same device to find that old submission.